Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. We are going to have fun with labels. And yes, you might be thinking that labels aren't all that sexy, but they are because feeling good in our bodies is very sexy. So, let's start. Let me see. First, let me just make sure I can see what I need to see on this screen, which right now I am not seeing a column for comments. So let me look closer because I don't have my glasses. And actually, assistant, once you figure out the page, would you mind grabbing my glasses for me up on my desk? Another thing I get to blame on age and or menopause. I'm losing my long distance sight, but it's all good because food and eating and cooking is such a sensual thing we do with our hands, and I can definitely see this just fine. So we are going to be a-okay. All right, let's see. Oh, Spirit Corley, I did see your comment pop up in the house. Hello, beautiful spirit. So great to see you. And now that I put these on, I can read exactly what you said. Woo, there you go. Is that better? Hey, Michelle, I'm here, my friend. Thank you. I love and adore you. And for anybody who's popping on or who might see the replay of this, I just have to pause and share. I am madly in love with Spirit's line of body care. You know, I'm very particular about the things I put in and on my body. So go check her out. It's Gem Sense and it's amazing. So thank you, Spirit, for being in my world. I'm so grateful that I have found you and that our paths have crossed. All right, so let's jump into the labels. I take the glasses off because, like I said, I can see in front of me. It's just I might need to put them on a little bit later to see a bit farther. So I've laid out a few items here just to kind of jump in, and it might feel like we're kind of all over the place. We did just have a full moon a couple days ago, but I promise if you stick with me, you will see how it all kind of ends up at the same, which means the toxins and the poisons and the chemicals out. We're taking those out of our lives, out of our bodies, out of our households. And the nutrients and the minerals and the vitamins, we are not only keeping them in, we're putting them in and we're layering them. We're going to be having a healthy fat, a protein, and a fiber at every single meal. So I will keep that theme going as well. So to start off, the big one, in my opinion, is the BPAs. For my, I was gonna say techie, but really more my science nerdy friends, talking to you, baby. Can you tell me what BPA might stand for? I know in our last live, we had some cheater pumpkin eaters Googling some things, but I guess that's not cheating because that's where we, wherever we find the information, let's get it in. Let's see if you've got it.
Bisphenol A.
Oh, very good. So yes, I pronounce it bisphenol, but what is that? 6 eggs, half dozen of another. Yep. Either way, it's a chemical that we do not want in our bodies. And sadly, a lot of cans have it in the lining of the cans. And so the foods that are going into these cans are kind of leaching that chemical, thus they're coming into our body. So I just wanted to share, number one, always, when you're shopping for canned goods, look to see, like a lot of these nicer brands like Eden, I'm a fan of the Eden cans, the Eden brand, it'll say right there on the label, no GMO, BPA free. So we want to look for that. And I just brought up another can that we inherited from, oh, I guess I don't need to tell that story right now. But we inherited this can, and you see it's still not open. We've had it in the house for about a year because somebody, I won't mention any names, he's kind of hot and he's sitting in the corner over here, but he doesn't like to waste food. So he made me promise to keep it. So that's the only reason this thing is still in the house. But this is a pretty popular brand, and I don't mind sharing that I am not a fan because it has well, I would assume it has a BPA inside because there's nothing on the label that tells me that it's BPA free. And another thing I want to bring up with a few of these things we're going to talk about tonight is health washing. It's a term that we like to use for a lot of big corporations and or small businesses too that will tell you, oh, this is healthy, it's black beans, so of course it's healthy for you. And it's like, well, really? Like the black beans themselves, of course. If you're finding it, picking it in an organic garden and cooking them yourselves, then yes. If your body can tolerate black beans, then yes, of course, that's healthy and that's great. But then we just learned that it's going to have the BPA in it. So the beans in this can have leached the chemicals. So that definitely brings down the health scale. On here in the big letters it says gluten-free, which that's the part of health washing that just makes me so mad. Because it's like, yes, it might be gluten-free, but that doesn't necessarily make it healthy. Like, I want my gluten-free with no chemicals, please, and thank you. So while we're here, while I'm beating up on this brand, and by the way, I am not endorsed by any of these products, the good ones or the ones that I'm deeming as bad. So these are just the things that happen to be in my kitchen that I want to share with my family here. So we know Eden, good, no BPAs. Let's check to see what is actually in these black beans. Another thing I recommend when you're in the grocery store, whether it's a can or a box or a bottle, humor me. Just the next time you go grocery shopping, just try it. 'Cause there's, I'm sure, a handful, if not a basket full of products that you're just used to buying because maybe that's the way you were raised, or maybe you found certain foods that you just loved like 10, 15 years ago. But I would love to suggest that you just do a little audit just to see how we can raise the nutrition. So on this label, it says ingredients: prepared black beans, water, and salt. Again, you might think, what's wrong with that? Nothing's horribly wrong with that. I mean, besides the chemicals that are probably in there, but then also the salt. Take a look at the salt, if it comes in a box where you buy it, or if it's in a little jar, and just look at those ingredients, read them. Actually, I'm just going to give you a moment right now. Hopefully you have me in your kitchen. Grab your phone if you need to transfer over, or bring your laptop in your kitchen. I would love for you to take a look, because what I know that you're going to find are things on that box that you're not going to find in nature. The typical table salt that is made is a combination of a lot of, yummy tasting, I'll give you that, yummy tasting chemicals, and they process it, and then they put it on our tables, and sometimes put it in our food. Not the best, especially because we have the alternative of sea salt, and we also have the alternative of sea vegetables. So I didn't grab it, but there's this one sea kelp that I have in a little shaker that looks like a little salt shaker, and that's a beautiful salt alternative because you get the natural sea salt flavor, and it's not too fishy. Actually, it's not fishy at all. But then you're getting all the minerals, and fun fact, sea salt is actually a very similar pH level as our natural blood. So for those of us who might be struggling with high blood pressure and or need to lower our salt, go for any of the sea salt products. Of course, talk to your doctor first. I'm not a doctor, another disclaimer, but it should be okay, the sea salt, because of the fact that it's matching the pH of our blood. All right, I'll stop bashing the beans. Let's move on. Do we have any questions yet?
Spirit just commented she's eating some Skinny Pop and she just read the label on it.
Oh, I love it. Skinny Pop. And Spirit, did you see anything that surprised you? Because I haven't read that label in a while, so I'm not sure what's in it besides popcorn and salt. Although I wonder what kind of oil they use in Skinny Pop. So I'll wait for that. I will, yeah, let me give it one more moment to see if you have a moment to type. Your fingers might be all salty and you don't want to mess up your keyboard, and I totally get that, so that's fine too.
Can you
All
give
right, so
me a hand with sharing this to the other account?
absolutely. So give me one moment. We're going to share this. This is new. Thank you, darling. This is new for us to be here live on the professional page. Typically, we're live on my personal page. So let me just take one moment to see if I can share it to the personal page so that we can see if our friends need some reminders. There we go. All right, thank you for saying something.
And Spirit said it's all good. Sunflower.
Ah, all right. So, on that note, and I promised to myself I would not get all judgy and get on my high horse here. So, with that disclaimer, I will just say the healthy fats that we talk about in culinary nutrition are avocado oil, which is great because you can use it at a high heat and it keeps its properties, its health properties. Of course, olive oil. Everybody loves olive oil. Ghee, full fat butter, and coconut oil. Those are the 5 brain supportive, health supportive, nutrient dense fats. And those are the only oils that we use in my home because of that reason. I think I mentioned earlier, I'm going through menopause, and so I need all the help I can to keep my hormones balanced. And I've got 2 teenage girls in the house, so I'm doing all that I can to keep their hormones balanced. And so those are the 5 healthy fats that we like to use. So when I see on labels anything that says vegetable oil or
Canola's bad one.
oh, good job, baby. He's been paying attention. He said canola's the bad one. Yes, canola, I will tell you, is actually, okay, I told myself I was going to be judgy. Let me bite my tongue. I will just tell the facts. The facts are that canola oil really messes with the brains, especially of teenagers, because it gets in there, it kind of mimics certain hormones, and so the receptors change in our brains, and it's just bad. So I would say even just do a personal test. Like next time you have something that may have canola oil in it, check in with your body, see how you're feeling before you eat it, and then just kind of notice how you're feeling after. Because I will tell you, for me, I definitely feel sluggish and just immediately in a bad mood, and nothing's wrong. So that's my take on the oils. So just beware. Next, I wanted to show this. It's breaking my heart to see this beautiful cauliflower wrapped up in plastic. But this is how we find it. We shop at Sprouts, and the organic cauliflower, and you do want to buy organic when at all possible, especially for the fruits and veggies where we're eating the top layers and the skin. But I wanted to leave this plastic on just to show you all, because I bought this, I want to say Saturday or Sunday, and you can tell it's already kind of started to mold, because what this plastic is doing, I mean, not only is it probably leaching some of that chemical that we talked about before that comes from plastic, but it also traps in the water, and cauliflower really wants to be dry. We don't want it like the wimpy leaves. Like cauliflower needs to be dry as we store it. So I wanted to show just as an example, you can get creative with your storage. So typically, after we go grocery shopping, I bring my veggies to this counter right here, I grab out all my different jars. We've got the tall ones, we've got the medium ones, we've got the recycled pickle jars. We get creative here because we only store our foods in glass because they do not leach chemicals into our food. So with that said, with the cauliflower, I would bring it home immediately from the grocery store, rip off this prison-style plastic, bam, and then I would chop it in the way that I know that I'm going to prepare it for the week. So sometimes, if I'm going to do cauliflower steaks, then I will chop the steaks and then I'll put them in maybe probably more of a square glass container. But often if I'm making like cauli mash or we're going to have cauliflower like little nuggets for snacks, then I'll just cut it up. I'm not going to wash it before I store it because again, you can see cauli does not like water while it's being stored. So I would cut it, put it in my jar, and then right before I'm going to eat it, that's when I'm going to rinse it. So just as a recap, so that we don't have any more cauliflower going to waste. And by the way, we're still going to eat this. I'm just going to kind of scrape off some of the brown stuff and rinse it and eat it. But I know I've heard from clients that a lot of times the issue is, well, I buy all these veggies, but then they go bad. Well, if you prep them that first day you get them home, or even the next day, I'll give you the next day for those of us who are extra busy. If you store them properly, they'll last, a week and a half to 2 weeks. So, just my little public service note: store the cauliflower, dry, and then enjoy it later so that you don't have any wasted food. All right, and then related to the veggies and the creative jars, this is my parsley. And parsley is opposite of cauliflower in the way that you do want liquid. So with the parsley, I brought it home. I just trimmed, well, I say trimmed, it kind of sounds a little fancy, but I had my hand on the parsley here, trimmed the bottom. So I took this, turned it upside down, and then I kind of dipped it in a bowl of water. So like this would be filled with water, and I'm kind of dipping it like that to get all the dirt off. You let it dry, well, not dry, drip off. You put it in the jar, and then I just filled it a little bit with water. And this parsley we've had for about a week, and it's still fresh, and it's still happy. And I do store this one in the fridge. So I'm going to put that to the side, and as I reach over, I notice we've got the nuts. This is one of the things I talk about in meal planning and meal prepping. I always recommend that you have easy to grab, whole, nourishing, healthy food around. So at all times we have a bowl of nuts. Sometimes it's almonds, sometimes it's pistachio, sometimes it's both. We also have the apples. Our son Oliver loves apples, can't get enough of them, so we have those. Got a mango, speaking of Oliver, he put this in the grocery basket and I think forgot about it. So you're in luck, little lady. I think this might be dessert tonight. But the point is to have easy to grab fruits and veggies and snacks so that when you do, I shouldn't put that on you, if you ever get the big munchies or I just need to grab something or I'm going to strangle somebody, that, that blood issue that some of us have, then you have a nice little thing to grab to kind of hold you over until you can prepare that healthy meal for yourself. So there's that. What else do we have here to talk about? Okay, so we already talked about the salt, and I'll just bring that up again. Sea salt has a very similar pH to our own blood level and our blood stream, the liquefied, what would I say for our own blood? Same pH as our blood. I'll keep it simple. But I just wanted to show you the different ways to store it. So I keep mine in a little jar like this. This is my Himalayan pink sea salt. And a little bit goes a long way. And I like to kind of have easy access so that when I'm cooking, it's just but if you're a shaker kind of person, put it in a shaker. But if it comes in plastic, again, you just want to move it to the glass. Speaking of plastic, this gorgeous almond butter is in plastic, so I don't love that part, but I do love that it is organic and that we were able to purchase it from Costco, so we saved some money there. But looking at the label, this is one of my favorite things to see on the label. One ingredient, organic roasted almonds. Booyah! It doesn't get better than that. But as we're here, because I don't think I've even studied this label, I just want to make sure that there's nothing else we need to talk about here. So yeah, if you're able to get the almond butter in glass, of course, that's the number one preference. But if you're trying to save a little bit of money and make your almond butter go a little bit farther, I say go for it. Here's just another example of a smaller container that we use. We have the big ones, we've got the small ones, and everything in between. This, I think, was I know, this used to be a jar of tahini, pardon me. Excuse me. Cheers. I've got my little sparkling water in my wine glass so I can feel fancy. This definitely helps me avoid the alcohol at times so I can feel, a little fancier in social situations and or just at dinner. Put my sparkling water in a wine glass and it feels amazing. So this used to be a tahini jar that I recycled. We've got about 10 more of them in the pantry just because you never know when you're going to use them. For instance, I found a recipe that used garbanzo flour, and a lot of the gluten-free flours can go bad kind of fast, and so you do want to refrigerate them when you can. So I took it out of the plastic bag that it came in, poured it in the glass jar, and I keep this in the fridge. So this is garbanzo flour. I think I also have almond flour in there. We store our excess olive oil in the fridge. Actually, all the oils are going to be stored in the fridge until it's time to pull them out to use them. What else do we keep in the fridge to keep healthy and safe? We keep nuts. So all of our nuts, not all, actually most, I will say. So again, I have the nuts on the counter for easy grab, and then the excess, because as I mentioned, we are Costco shoppers. Those are all stored in the fridge to keep their health benefits and to keep them from going rancid. Let's see, moving on. So, as far as storage and with the glass, I found these big old ball jars at Ace Hardware store. So you can go kind of industrial that way. I'm sure they probably sell them on Amazon as well. We got these stackable glass containers from Costco. So there's that access. I imagine the Container Store would have nice stackable glassware for you as well. And again, recycle anything that comes in glass. So this is a pickle jar that I have stored my parsley in before. I've stored my nuts in here. I've stored oatmeal in here before. So I just encourage you to get creative with the storage. So I'm going to take a pause for a moment. Do we have any questions at this point?
Spirit commented that she loves pink sea salt, and sometimes she also uses some Bonaire. Are you familiar with Bonaire pink sea salt?
I'm not familiar with Bonaire pink sea salt. Is that a brand of the sea salt? Or is that a type of sea salt? Sounds fancy.
Either way, she's glad you approve of pink sea salt. After
Yes,
that sunflower oil. And Jill commented.
Yes, you get the applause. Good job, Spirit.
And
All
Jill
right.
commented
And
that, say what?
That's our Jill. Hello, Jill. I love that you're always ready for a giggle. At least you make me giggle. Let's see what Jill says.
Said, my mom said that that's the best oil next to olive, getting rid of mine now. So.
Oh, wait. So her mom said which oil is the best one?
I think you had commented, I think it was the canola oil that you had mentioned.
Yeah.
I
So you're
believe
getting rid of the
that's-
canola then, right, Jill? Is that what you're saying as we're nodding our head? And then
Jill just followed up with Dutch West Indies for the Bonaire, I believe.
oh, okay. Well, you're teaching me something new. Maybe next time we get together, we'll do a little sea salt taste testing. I would love that.
Yeah, salts from Bonaire are highly mineralized. fancy. And then
Fancy.
Andrea Johnson.
Hi, Andrea Johnson.
Hi,
Welcome.
Sil. What is the benefit of Himalayan salt versus sea salt?
No, I love that you ask. And the answer is they're almost the same. So I say pick the one that tastes the best to you. I will tell you that the Celtic sea salt, I tried a really delicious, and actually I think I'm going to do a video on that coming up soon. But I did a really delicious herb and live garlic, live herb. I don't think I did any onion, but mixture, and then I let it dry overnight with some Celtic sea salt, and that was just a little bit of heaven. But the thing I found out is, like, you just need like a little bit compared to the table salt where you're going like this. But with the Celtic sea salt, it's like a little bit because, well, we just learned the hard way that it got really salty. All of that to say, experiment. Like maybe in the beginning, just get the smaller bags or bottles of the different types of sea salt and just experiment with what your taste buds love the most. So awesome question. You would think though that the pink sea salt would be, or the Himalayan sea salt would be more nutritious just because of the pink color. So now that I think about that, I'm going to do some research and I will get back to you. So thank you for asking. You have my word. All right, so we talked about health washing a little bit earlier, and for those of you who are just joining us, the health washing is the term that people that are trying to sell us things use to make us think it's healthy. And so this is another example. This, I already gave props to Costco, so now they're coming down a notch with this one. But you see this beautiful label. It's got the cranberries. Everybody knows if you're having, a urinary infection, drink cranberry juice. And so we're like, yeah, it's healthy. Oh, and it even says organic. Come on. My circle's already smart enough to know. We're going to check the label next. The label. First ingredient, filtered water. Okay, they've got me there. I like that it's filtered. Organic cranberry juice. All right, I like that it's organic. But the third ingredient, organic sugar. Really? I mean, it's organic. Okay, so it's better, I guess, that it doesn't have the chemicals that can come along with that. But there's probably chemicals in this plastic bottle here, and it's sugar. And as we know, sugar is very inflammatory. So I highly discourage the drinking of the juice. We drink juice in our house on special occasions, hence this is here. So I'm not gonna ever say never touch any of the quote unquote bad things, but in moderation. And to be fair, I think we've had this bottle, I think before Christmas, haven't we? Like it's lasted us a while. Like it's just like a little drop here and there. So with this, I just wanted to show as an example to just double check your labels. I can tell you in the fridge, I have a glass jar of organic cranberry juice, and it's actually cranberry concentrate. And so for those of you who were with us for our Valentine's special, we made a really delicious and nutritious and healthy cranberry mocktail. And so we did the cranberry concentrate, like, 2 to 3 tablespoons. We did some stevia, I think like 4 or 5 drops for the sweetness. I think we did some lime and then some sparkling water. And it was delicious. Alcohol-free, sugar-free, and filled with vitamin C. So even though there might be vitamin C in here, I don't know that your body's actually going to be able to uptake any of it because of the sugar kind of bringing you down. Do you like that? For healthy, sugar, bad. And there's your interpretive dance for the evening. Next subject. Actually, I'm going to take a break. Sip my fancy sparkling water. And next we've got our Honey Nut Cheerios. So, for anybody who has cereal in their house, I promise not to judge you. Would you be brave enough and willing enough to type in the comments maybe some of the ingredients that you might see on the label. Whether it's Honey Nut Cheerios, Frosted Flakes. Ooh, I know more health washing. Special K. Their advertising was great, especially back in the day. Eat Special K, lose a lot of weight, look energetic and healthy and happy like the beautiful women in the commercial. Health washing. But before I jump in on the cereal, do we have any comments yet? Not yet? Okay. No worries. I am happy to read the label. So on here, the first ingredient, whole grain oats. Okay, we like whole grains. Absolutely. Second ingredient, sugar. This one didn't even bother to say organic sugar, like the juice. So yeah, when the second ingredient is sugar, you know it's probably going to be all downhill from there. But with that said, for some of my newbies, labels have to, I don't know if it's the FDA or who enforces it, but they have to list the ingredient that is the most down to the least. So in these Honey Nut Cheerios, there's more whole grain oats than there is sugar. So that's helpful and good to know. But then as we go down, the next ingredient, cornstarch. That's one of those ingredients that I think a lot of us grew up with. It's like, oh, it's cornstarch. Of course, I put it in to thicken up my soups. Okay. You might want to consider trying arrowroot starch instead, because corn, my dear friends, is typically inflammatory for most of our bodies. It wasn't probably about 50 years ago, but because of the way corn is tilled, harvested, what's the word I'm trying to pull for? Milled, grown, there's a simple word. Because of the way the corn is grown, the quality of our soil has just gone down, down, down over the years. And so now that's why a lot of children are coming out of the womb with automatic immune disorders to the corn, to the wheat, to the dairy, to the soy. I'm sure most of you know I am gluten intolerant, so I am allergic to the gluten and to the dairy. And I understand that not everybody feels that way for their own body, and that's fine. This workshop is just an awareness of what could be on your shelves, in your kitchen, and or in your fridge. So it gets even juicier. The next step after cornstarch is honey, because of course you have to have honey to go with the name Honey Nut Cheerios. But to me, honey and sugar are pretty much in the same boat. If you had to choose, I mean, there are minerals in honey, so I would definitely say go for the honey over having the sugar in your house. So I'm not too bad at that. But then the next ingredient is brown sugar syrup. Another way of saying sugar. And salt, tripotassium. I don't think we can find tripotassium out in nature. Phosphate, same thing. Canola oil. We already know the answer to that. We don't want canola oil in our bodies. Natural almond flavor. So whenever you see natural flavor on a label, that could come from an animal. It could come from a wheat product. So you want to be really careful, especially if you're a vegan and you see natural flavors on something. You might not be true to your veganism if it says natural flavors, because it could be coming from a cow and or a wheat plant. So just be careful as you're buying products and reading labels. And then at the very end, vitamin E. Oh, it's so nice of you, Honey Nut Cheerios, to give me my vitamin E. No thanks. I think I'd rather get it from a supplement.
The front of that box looks so healthy. Gluten-free.
Doesn't it just make you want to be healthy while you eat your Honey Nut
They
Cheerios?
even highlight that the first ingredient is whole grain oats, and that it's sweetened with whole grain oat cereal with real honey and natural almond flavor. But they don't talk about all the other sugar, the tripotassium, the corn starch, or the corn syrup, and
You
Yeah.
get an A. You get an A.
oh, but it lowers
Good
your
job.
cholesterol.
But that is to be determined, to be seen. All right, so this brand, Siete, Hot Husband actually just brought me a coupon today saying that they are on sale for some of my friends here in Colorado. If you shop at Sprouts, I think it was a 25% off.
Whole
right?
Foods has it on
Oh, at
sale
Whole Foods.
for
Okay.
Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, for Cinco de Mayo. Love that. And I love this family story. I'm not going to share it here, but if you're interested in the Siete family, love their story about how they came to be. But on this label, let's read. Cassava flour. Love it. There's no wheat. There's no grains. A cassava is kind of like a kind of potato shaped. So love it so far. Avocado oil. We talked about that as being one of the 5 healthy fats that feed our brains. Pumpkin seed meal. Amen. High in selenium and manganese, which are great for our skin and actually feed our brain as well. Pumpkin powder. Love that. Sea salt. Love that. Psyllium husk powder. That's an awesome fiber. So this is the first label I've read tonight, I think, that gets an A plus. Plus, they're super delicious. So this is the taco shells that I buy. I think I get them at Sprouts, but I know they have them at Whole Foods as well. I don't know about King Soopers. And they sell burrito wraps. I buy those as well. And then they also sell these chips. And their whole line is completely grain-free. So big fan here. That compared to Char, which I will have to say, I'm so sad. This has been my favorite brand forever. But it was about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had family pizza night. And after me thinking I'm being healthy and being so grateful that there's a delicious gluten-free crust, I told Steve, I'm like, my joints are hurting and I cannot figure out why. I'm like, I didn't have any dairy products, I didn't have any corn. And then I was like, let me just double check the label. So see, busted, I didn't even check the label. And I went to school for this. The very first ingredient is cornstarch. So hence why there's, in this 2-pack, there's still 1 left, because I won't be eating it anytime soon. But my body is that sensitive. And I imagine for a lot of you who are with me, your body is probably sensitive as well. So this is, again, just a reminder and an awareness to just check in with what we have on our shelves. Because I got sucked into this brand. Actually, it was when we were in Paris. Was it Paris?
Yeah, Germany, France, or London. We were in
Oh, maybe it
Paris
was London.
and even Celtic France.
Okay. It's where he proposed to me. And we found this awesome gluten-free aisle while we were there, and this was here. And so, of course, I bought all their breads, and it was just so good. And then when we came home and saw that they sold Char products here in Colorado, I'm like, I'm in. And I was focused on it being gluten-free and delicious. I didn't notice the first ingredient being cornstarch. So, that is that. I think we will move on. So, do we have any questions before I close down for the evening?
No questions. A couple people just commented on the cereal. Andrea said cornstarch and tripotassium were ingredients for her.
Oh,
Spirit
so Andrea
Unchained.
has corn in her cereals. Okay.
She used arrowroot, no corn. And Spirit also said gluten-free for the most part.
Awesome. Love this healthy community. Nicely done. Well, thank you all so much for joining me this evening. I'm super excited about the next workshop, which will be May 8th. It'll be with the YMCA. And for my friends, of course, it'll be free. I believe I'll be on at 11 a.m. And I will be making my famous, I always look for a reaction from the 14-year-old when I say famous, because she's like, eh. But my famous curry turkey over a bowl of cauli rice. And that'll be a hands-on workshop. We'll be doing it together virtually. And then on May 12th, even more excited, my Mamacita's coming to show us how to make her gluten-free zucchini bread. So Mamacita's gluten-free zucchini bread, and that will be here on Facebook Live Wednesday, May 12th at 6:30 p.m. Mountain. And husband just did the one more moment.
No.
Oh, I
No.
thought there was something else. Okay. And so that's it. So I hope I get to cook with you all soon. Thank you so much for being here with me this evening. I'll see you on the other side.